And good morning. We are live with the Passion Summit, and here with me is Carmen. Hi, Carmen.
Hello.
And we also have Mark with us, who is experiencing some technical issues. So we're hoping he's just going to join us as he starts to get his Wi-Fi working, because at the moment he can't see or hear us, but we can see him. So both Carmen and Mark have used the Passion toolset. They were both part of the original program. And I don't know whether maybe, Carmen, you want to say sort of what you got from using the tools, or maybe have you got a question for the toolset, just so I can obviously tailor the session to both you and Mark, who are not new students, and then we can maybe have a refresher of it as well.
I liked very much your approach on the beliefs and the subconscious, and how we could work on them and change them in order to improve our lives.
So sorry, just say that again. So you liked what did you say?
Your approach on the limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And how we could tap into the subconscious and work with them.
Yeah.
So that we could improve our lives.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing about the tools. It does like to. It does like to be able to identify. Although it's very, it starts off very surface level by identifying your goals. Mark, can you hear us? No, I don't know. It starts off very surface level, so obviously we're looking at goals, etc., and where are we going to? What's the gap between where we are and where we're going to? What's our behaviour? But like you say, I designed the tool so that you can very much use it to analyse and to kind of do your own self-coaching. And as a part of that, yes, we do look at our conditioning, our limiting beliefs, and the subconscious of what's going on. Yeah. So anything else you want to say, Carmen?
We can self-regulate our own lives. So we can know what the relationship between the cause and the effect is, and knowing that the cause is in our mind, in our thinking, and in our limiting beliefs, we can go there and change and give the ingredients for what we want to accomplish.
Yes.
The seeds.
Yes. Okay. And so where did you find that in the tools? Was it in some of the letters that you looked at, or was it just the general process?
It was in some of the letters, and it was in a few of the SMSs that I found that.
Some of the letters, and what was the last bit?
The text messages.
The text messages. Okay, excellent. Yeah. So as a part, just explaining if anyone's watching this, as a part of, you get the tool set, which is the Passion acronym. The P stands for something, the A stands for something, etc. And they're all elements of performance or underperformance. And like you say, there's some messages in there about goal setting, or where you've got a lack of self-belief, etc. But also as a part of, you get the tool set to walk away and work on it and refer back to the tools. But as you say, then weekly you get an accountability call, and also daily text messages, which is sometimes good, aren't they? Because sometimes it's a blind spot, but you'll get maybe an inspiring quote that might be about an entrepreneur who's gone through failure, etc. And it just resonates and hits something in your mind that you haven't seen about yourself.
Yes.
So Mark is saying he's trying with both the phones, running off 4G, and still can't get all three of us. He's going to keep trying. Okay, that's great. I'll just say we are continuing, and please join when you can. Yeah, so you like the text messages because sometimes that would spark something off in your head that you maybe hadn't seen that could have been stopping you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I always say, our mind is that which creates health and disease. And it is what we think about ourselves, what we say about ourselves on a daily basis, that really is what happens to us.
Yes, it's our friend and our foe. It's our best friend and our enemy at the same time, because like we know with coaching, it is just purely perspective. It's purely the mindset of how you look at something.
Yes, and regarding the negative emotions, I always tell my clients, I give them the ABC model, which was created by the American psychologist Albert Ellis. A means activator, B means behavior, and C means consequence. So it's not the situation itself that makes us feel the negative emotion, but the way in which we interpret the situation. And we interpret the situation based on our previous experience.
Okay, I'm finding it hard to hear you come as it's Mark speaking. I wonder if Mark, can you hear us? Mark, can you hear us? Because the thing is, he's going to have to mute himself. I wonder if you toggle video, toggle mic. No, that hasn't been, has it? Mark,
Just logging that out.
Yourself. Please. I'm not sure he's seen that. Close video. I really don't want to close this video if it chucks him out of the room. Hang on, let's see if I can do it down here. Live attendees on screen. Right, I'm going to remove him. There we go. He'll have to join us back. I just hope that if he comes back, I can add him again.
Okay, so can I say what I was saying earlier?
Please, yeah.
I was saying about the ABC model developed by the American psychologist Albert Ellis, who created a model regarding the emotional management. And A means activator, B means behavior, and C means consequence. So it is not the situation itself that makes us feel a negative emotion, but the way in which we interpret that situation.
Okay.
And we usually interpret a situation based on our previous experience. And that in our mind has runs programs, automatic programs like breathing, heartbeat, etc., and programs regarding situations. So if in the last situation, similar situation, this is the program that worked, this is the program I will use to respond. And if we want to get new results, then we need to respond differently. So what do we need to change? Our way of thinking, which by the way, those programs and way of thinking has been acquired in the first part of our childhood when we were in the theta state mostly, and we acquired everything that was going around in our life.
And that's sort of where I look at the eye of passion, and for me that's the index. Where how have we indexed our life? Where have we sourced, found almost like the chapters of our book? We write the chapters of our book, and we write the headings, and we decide what is the coding of what are, okay, a lot of your values are passed from your parents, but you can still decide. Yeah.
Excuse me, it is not we who are writing the book. The director of our life is our subconscious. The director of our life is our subconscious, and it can be sabotaging us most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's why it's so hard to get to it, because a lot of it is, like they say, under the iceberg. It's only the tip of the iceberg that we see, which is our consciousness, and the subconscious we're not even aware of. hence why when you get a text from the program, a daily text, there'll be something in there that you'll be like, oh my gosh, I hadn't even seen this, because it's in your subconscious.
Yeah.
So
we have to become aware of so many things.
Exactly. So for me, the book is, and here's the book now, the book, and it's very interactive. The book is, should I see if I can add them? The book is, it allows you to just be playful and to just ask questions of yourself. And as I said, it very much is a self-coaching tool, for sort of personal learning. And it allows us, as I say, to do that investigation and ask those questions and just increase that awareness, because that's always going to be there. So yeah, I will just see, I will invite Mark on screen and see if it works. I'm not sure, because it looked like they were outside, so I'm not sure what they're doing. Hi, Mark.
Hello. I've come outside.
We can hear you.
I can see you and hear you at this moment. So
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I think this might work. I'm sat outside by a marina, so it might be. I've found a quiet corner, so this might work.
Okay. Well, we've been carrying on, and I don't know if you've heard anything of what we were saying. Had you heard anything?
No, not after I lost you in the room. So I apologise.
We can repeat, maybe.
So basically, I was asking Carmen, because she'd been a part of the program and dipped in and out, Mark, and she found she was using the tools, and her sort of coaching side is she's qualified in psychology, and what she liked about it was, she said, the subconscious side. So yeah, Carmen, I don't know if you want to say a bit more about it, because she was saying about the ABC model. I don't know if you've heard of that, Mark, and she said it helps with that side of looking at the activator, the behavior and the consequence.
Yes, I was saying about a similar model in psychology created by the American psychologist Albert Ellis, which is the ABC model, a model regarding emotional management, where A is the activator, B is the behavior, and C is the consequence. And the bottom line is that it is not the situation that will generate negative emotion in us, but the way in which we interpret the situation. And that is usually a program in our mind. It's just like when you have a Windows troubleshooting and you have to restore the previously version that worked. So if we are dealing with similar situation, we are using the same mental program to respond. And this is why we never get new results, because in order to get new results, we would have to change our way of thinking. And our way of thinking was acquired during the first part of our childhood, during our first 5 to 7 years from the society we lived in. And we were prone to acquiring these mental programs because we were mostly in the theta state. Our brain was functioning mostly in the theta state.
Yeah. So there you go. So now you have a different perspective on it, Mark. Did you want to say anything about that, Mark? Because I was just saying that basically I feel that I designed the book so that people could just start to ask themselves some questions and see what their subconscious programming was, so that they could become more aware of it. And then also Carmen said some of the daily texts helped kind of uncover some of that subconscious and that the mental programming that was going on.
Yeah, I recognise elements of the description of what holds back change and the practical strategies you can do to encourage change. I recognised elements of that, but I suppose some of the framework, the model is different from yours. But I recognise elements of coaching strategies in what was just described.
Yeah, yeah. And for you, because Carmen was saying that was mainly some of the things that she got from using the tool set from October was the subconscious stuff. For you, it was a lot of accountability. Is that? I mean, are you still getting stuff from the book? Because obviously you were posting stuff, and it's not. I'm not putting you on the spot, but is there some stuff that you've learned from the books? There's some stuff I've learned from the book that I don't actually need to look back at the book. I can remember it and remind myself daily. So is it something like that where it's become part of a new mental program?
I would say that I went back to the book in preparation for this, and I looked back and I'd done a lot of the exercises, and those kind of get done and subsumed, I think, like taken in. What going back to it, what I thought was I should have done more of, and I can do more of, is the daily calibration tools that are in there. Those were I've marked those pages as something to go back to, because those are what maintain the program, aren't they? What, after you've answered the questions, you've thought about where you are in terms of, I'm here, it's working here, it's not working there. The practical applications start to work, the daily habits start to work and start to have an impact. So absolutely, in preparation for this, it was the daily calibration tools that stood out as something I should be doing more of, I think.
Yeah, and I agree. That is the same for me. Is that the only thing that changes and shifts my behaviour daily is by remembering to do the daily little tweaks, which are making sure that I've done my physical things in the morning, exercise, had 20 minutes away from phone, away from distractions, drink my water, do my exercise, do the tasks that I've set myself, i.e. I've sent my accountability buddy a short list of what I want to get done in the morning. I text her every morning without fail. Well, if I do fail, then I have to apologise and send her another text and re-edit what I'm going to do. But every morning before 9 o'clock, and then at night time doing the appreciation acknowledgement chart. So having to think, what have I done today, or what's good about today? And those are the only things. Those are the core things that I do, that I stick to every day, that I think ultimately they're going to be the only things that are going to be the measure of how is your day actually changed from yesterday, i.e. are you still living on the old mental programs? Because unless we ask ourselves the questions daily, would you agree, Carmen, that you've got to have some way of interrupting those daily habit loops, or else we then go back to new daily habit loops, but then it just becomes a habit loop again.
Yes, but I think, in the Theta healing meditation that we do, we are going into the subconscious, conscious. So we are going into Theta state consciously and consciously working on those programs. So we are identifying. So, for instance, I say I don't have money, and if I say today I don't have money, tomorrow I will not have money. If I say I don't have money, and this program has to be changed at the level of our subconscious. Into I have money, I'm a rich person. So that is a blockage that needs to be changed.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it consciously, you have to get someone into the unconscious and work from there. And that can be done using the Theta Healing meditation.
Yeah. Do you do the meditation every day, Carmen?
Yes.
Are you okay? Do you need to get some water?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So basically language, how we are programming ourselves with what we say.
Yes, and I also do something at night where I do the Reiki self treatment, which relaxes my brain.
Yeah.
And I also have another technique I do to synchronize the hemispheres. So that's what Reiki does, and other self treating meditation.
Yeah. And do you think that's a big thing, Mark, about being able to have a moment in the day to relax our brain or to come away from it so that we can interrupt that behavior? Like you were saying, just using some of the calibration tools, would that maybe be helpful, or do you do something like that anyway?
I think just something I noticed, something I thought as you were talking then, was that even new and positive thoughts and approaches and habits can become stale. And I just thought of all the things that I've changed. You need to take stock of those changes and think about, well, have they just become repetitive? Are you still thinking about the impact they're making? Are you actually making the changes that you've that you want?
Yeah.
So that was something I just thought. I try and do. I've got an early morning practice that I do, and that's become that's 2 or 3 years long standing. I'm happy to get up early and do, exercise, meditation, journaling, set my day up. That is there for me. In terms of then what I've worked on over the last year, Rachel, is an evening practice of reflection and, did I do everything that I wanted to do? Was it the sort of day that I wanted? Some sort of gratitude, and I've been really working on that. Probably certainly since probably we last spoke. That's somewhere where I could make a difference. Looking back on the day, so in terms of pauses and moments, I'm good in the morning, and I'm getting better at doing it at the evening, rather than just having tea and family time, then just working, and then packing my bag and going to bed. Just taking, I just made myself just do 5 minutes of just right, what do I need to do tomorrow? Am I happy with today? Who do I thank? Just trying to do that. Even I just had to make myself do 5 minutes, and I'm at the early stages of that, but I am seeing the benefit of that. But those, so my pause and where I'm working on a pause and a reflection is at the end of the day, and I'm getting better at that, I think.
Yes. Yeah, and the daily calibration will help you with that, like the little chart, something like that could help you with doing so. But it sounds like you're doing it, but you're noticing, which is great, of where can I daily recalibrate. And I think we're all at that stage of, I noticed where some of my high performing habits are becoming stale, and where potentially I am in a habit loop. And I think the key thing for me is looking to see every day of where am I making myself uncomfortable? Where am I feeling that perhaps I can push myself a bit more in either a work action or a personal action? But the big thing for me that I feel, having designed a system like Passion, is when I start to question myself in either a conversation with someone, or I start to feel needy about something, that's when I'm able to go, okay, I'm going to take a pause here, because I'm now questioning myself. I'm not validating my own self, and I'm looking externally for some approval, validation. Why has that gone wrong? Why have I not heard something back? And it's in those moments that I feel Passion is most useful, to kind of hold back, take a breath, and not try to send a message to the world, or ask a question of the world, or expect something back from the world. Those are the most useful moments for me, I find, because it's uncomfortable, because I'm actually going, I'm not feeling I'm doing this right, or I'm not performing right, or this is going wrong. But I know it's just me questioning my kind of inner gut, if you like. So that's all I can share about where I kind of try to use it on a daily basis. And also trying to remember in every moment, if I'm either standing on a train or waiting in a shop or walking along the road, of how can I be more present here? Like, what am I not aware of? Like, could I help somebody? Could I smile at somebody? Could I, give someone a nice comment or something? And it's in those moments where I think we can make the difference. So, but it's not perfect.
No, where your toolkit and toolkits generally are useful is that they give you it's sharper. It gives you a prompt to do some things that you I speak from the I say I do I do habitually, but a toolkit is sharper, isn't it? It's actually a pause and a moment of reflection and a key question more regularly than your consciousness might habitually do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that's where a toolkit, because I just wrote down those two questions, that if I reflected, say, halfway through the day on, am I being needy or a victim, or have I been, or am I making myself uncomfortable today? It just shifts your focus. It brings into focus your day, and it's sharper than just doing it subliminally.
Yeah. And also because a lot of this is, sometimes we write down our goals. There's my board, and this up here is my 3 goals that I want to focus on for the next 6 months. And I've got all this and this organisation, and a lot of it is about goals and written kind of measurements and diagnostics. But a lot of what we're talking about is emotion. A lot of what we get distracted by or pushed off course is our emotions, and we can't ignore those because we're human, and obviously none of us want to be robots. So it's a fine balance between, okay, I'm setting my goals and doing a daily calibration, but how are my emotions and my conditioning and our mental programs, are they running the show, and is that helping me? Is that positive? So I just think it's a constant.
Yes, they are running the show, and we have to give the ingredients of what we want to achieve. So it is very well known that the last 15 minutes before we fall asleep, what we do, that is what our brain will process overnight. And there was a recent case in Romania about a girl was kidnapped and killed, and the media went on and on about details of this murder, and it would be also at the midnight news, which people are watching after watching the movie, and when the brain is the subconscious is very open, then you get the news about the crime and the details, and you wake up being nervous, fighting with everyone, being unfulfilled. So yeah, it is very important what you do before you fall asleep. Whether you do meditation, whether you relax. There is another thing I do before I go to sleep. It is called Tanaka facial massage. It's a sort of Chinese Japanese massage that does the lymphatic drain, that relaxes the limbs. And we have also some chakras and the meridians on our face relate to all our organs, the heart, the kidneys, and it relaxes our body. And you get into a very nice relaxed state and get a very more profound sleep. So you sleep better and you wake up more rested than you would not.
I love what you said about we have to give the ingredients to our mental programs of what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you find this as well, Mark. I will actually turn programs off if a newsreel comes on, on the news, and I am not prepared to. I'm not in a good mental state to be able to listen to it because it's quite upsetting. And I don't know whether other people do that as well, where you don't have to make yourself take on board what's being fed to you. You can switch it off or walk out, because I think it's important what we want to hear, and are we prepared to hear it? I don't know.
My view is that the media set out to make us uncomfortable. News is. I just don't watch the news. I understood what it was doing to me some time ago, making me angry and upset. And I've got kids. We've got kids, and you're worried about the world. And
that's the media manipulation. That's manipulations from media.
The media, what, Carmen?
Manipulation, psychological manipulation through media.
But I don't think enough people. I hear sometimes what my parents might say, and I don't think enough people question. This is something I was always born with. My mum and dad said, you're always curious, asking why. But I don't think enough people lose that ability to question, because it's a childhood thing that you question. But then you get to a stage where you don't question anymore. And I always question stuff. People might say, oh, at your age, or in your circumstance, or you're a single mum, and they try to put you in categories. And it's like, well, why? Why have I got to be that way? Who made up that rule? So I just don't think enough people question what people are trying to feed them, or question what they want to be fed, or what they want to, be involved in.
They usually say, this is who I am, take it or leave it. That's it. I'm not going to change for anything in my life. This is who I am. Period.
There you go. And I don't think there are enough people who are willing to kind of go like that.
No, and this is usually the ego. How can you dare tell me what to do? Who are you to tell me what to do? This is usually how people are. They are very egotistic, narcissistic even, and you cannot tell them, you need to change this, you need to change that. No, this is who I am, and you have to respect it.
So you think that as a positive or a negative, that we stick to who we are?
Well, it's important to stick to who we are, but we also have to be flexible. We have to be flexible in accordance with the person we are talking to, with the situation. There is a proverb, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So you can still convey your message, but being flexible.
Yeah.
Being agree to disagree. Some people say, please don't disagree with me. Don't contradict me. Just let me be as I say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they feel that this is an attack on their person. If you tell them what to do, no. This is who I am. Give me like that. Well, if people could become more aware of who is the real shadow director of their lives, who is running the show, maybe they could. It's not me. It's not leave me alone. It's not me. It's a shadow of me behind me, who is the conscious me. That is an unconscious me that is running the show.
Well, yeah, and like we said, sometimes we're not aware of that. So
no, we are not, and we have to become aware of that. But people are very reluctant, as I see.
Yeah, absolutely. Because one thing I'm saying now about the toolset when I speak to people is an introduction to lifelong learning. It's quite windy where you are, Mark. Are you able to? I don't know whether the wind's blowing on your. phone. That's a bit better. Brilliant. Thank you. Oh, hang on. It's a bit windy. Yeah.
It's
So
a nice weather for our summit. A very nice weather for our summit.
yeah, very nice weather. Yeah. But yeah, it's an introduction, but for those who choose it, because there are some people who are just not interested in understanding that they can change or they can be better, and that just is the way it is.
And some people are really afraid to change because they are afraid of the unknown. This is what I have done before. I know how it works, and don't come and teach me a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry for the expression.
That's all. No, it is, and I think all that we can do is just to keep being ourselves and to keep.
So this is why I say that you have to be flexible and you have to be like a chameleon. And see how the person communicates and try to communicate in the same terms that the person communicates, so that she could understand you at a different level.
Yeah. What I'm going to do, guys, because obviously both, all three of us have used the tool set, and I'm not going to kind of go over, because what I've done previously on some of the summits is I've gone into the slides that we did before, and I don't know how much use that is going to be for the two of you, for me to actually go over the slides. So what I can either do is, I've been writing some notes lately of new things I'm getting from the Passion tool set, and I can just do a little refresher of sort of some new perspectives or some new highlights that I've got from them. So I can sort of go through that, and then you can kind of maybe say some questions or some comments. I mean, what's going to be useful for you both?
That sounds. If you've got some new input, Rachel, that would be really interesting to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So as I've been revisiting Passion and using the tool set with new people and doing some new workshops and things like that, for me, what's been coming out of it is that as a book, and as a journal and as an interactive book where you can write notes, and like Mark says, you've got exercises, you've got reminders, like Carmen says, you've got the daily texts that are coming through, maybe showing you some blind spots, reminding you to look back at your tools and your daily calibration tools. For me, what's becoming apparent is that the book allows you to daily remember what's important. No matter what's going on, no matter what subliminal conditioning and subconscious stuff is going on, at its basic, bless you, at its basic, it reminds you daily what's important. Like, what do I want to get done today? What really is important to me? And it does help people deal with procrastination and overwhelm, because it really does get you to take an action, go and do an exercise. Another thing that I pointed out to a couple of students a couple of months ago was the big thing it was helping me to do was to discipline my disappointment. And that really resonated with me. It was something I heard from Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, was that sometimes on this rat wheel that we're on, this kind of hamster wheel, whatever it is, and as Mark said, sometimes our new behaviour and our new habits become stale. So it's just learning that as humans, and I find this, that sometimes I'm just disappointed, and why? I've got my appreciation acknowledgement chart. I've got so much to be thankful for, but I just get so disappointed in myself. Like, it's, quite a live, present emotion, and it's there. It's like palpable. It's like in the environment. You cut it with a knife. and there's disappointment there. And, you know, again, it comes from conditioning of a child being disappointed with themselves. So the tool set allows me to just remember to discipline myself. And I hope you guys know what I mean by discipline. It means like mental discipline. So these tool sets, like Mark says, it's that mental ability to sharpen the tool. So that's something else that I was getting from it. Another thing that I was getting from it, and do interrupt me if you guys want to say anything at any time. Another thing that I was getting from it is about prioritizing endurance, not necessarily progress, or it was not so much about results and what's the progress we're making, what's the growth we're making, what's the gap that we're achieving, you know, how are we getting better, you know, all this time, all these years of coaching, how am I getting better, how am I helping people to change themselves, And a big word that struck me a few weeks ago was just prioritizing endurance, just being able to look at your endurance and have that as a focus, as opposed to progress, goals, achievement, money, finance, success, you know, because all of those start to get a bit tired and worn down after a while. So I think it was an article I read, endurance is the key, not progress. And I think that's why the book helps, because like Mark says, you can go back to the book and you can have a little bit of a reminder, and it becomes about endurance. It doesn't become about you, where are you, where's your success? It just becomes about how can we endure. And endure might sound negative, but I think it's a positive endure. How can we really, and Mark will know this because he runs a lot and he runs quite far distances. Endurance is a positive thing, learning to stretch that endurance muscle.
If I could just add to what you said, because I say a lot about process over goals. Because you know, in my work that kids get beaten, literally pressured by a target grade or a final grade, and those become quite a burden to a kid. So I'm always saying, well, let's forget about August, forget about July, and bring it down to a daily process that you can do that will get you towards that goal. And and that's a variation on that. And I do recognize it's that preparedness to have a daily practice, something you do every day, but you do every day, you endure every day the habit in order to make the but if you constantly concentrating, and kids do this and adults do this, if you're constantly concentrating on the goal and focusing on the goal, while it's good to have a goal, that becomes everything and not the path to the goal. And I like that variation on that about endurance. I'm quite comfortable with endurance as it's unpleasant, it's difficult, but it's facing that and working with that difficulty that we all know that's where the joy ultimately lies, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, it's just something, as I say, I've been struggling with, which is why I said about the disciplining my disappointment, because I am so hypercritical, I'm oversensitive, and this is something I was working on with my relationship with my mum a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, right, I'm going to focus on this because I love my mum and I want her to have the best experience when we're together, and I was being oversensitive about stuff. So it's focusing on those uncomfortable things that you do want to maybe see a change or see a difference or whatever. But I think where I'd really got to is my whole coaching life has been about achievement, success, you know, goals, measures, you know, and you get to a point where you're like, sometimes some of this is more longer term. And I get impatient, you know, and if you don't see instant results, and there's some business things that I'm doing at the moment, and I'm targeting my business towards the West Coast of America.
Wow.
I'm starting to get some progress and stuff, but it's so much harder. And on all the work with passion that I'm doing with the workshop and the book and everything, you kind of get some short wins, and then you get some progress and you get some movement. So as I say, the whole kind of progress thing and success and achievement thing just wasn't resonating with me. And when I read this article about endurance, I was just like, that's it. And it's so totally against who I am, because as I say, I've always been progress, change, results, you know, and so I think you do get to either a different stage of your coaching or a different stage of your life or whatever, or as a more experienced coach, you see that those things are not going to wash, and that instant happiness doesn't work. It's more about the longer fulfillment, which can be uncomfortable. So anyway, that was some things I was getting. We will always be scared, anxious to continue. Yeah, but just being with those feelings of scared or questioning yourself or anxious that potentially are going to be there. And it's, you know, life's not perfect, we're not perfect, and Jesus, there's so much to be thankful for. So that was a lot of what I was getting recently. Another way that I was seeing that the book and getting some feedback from people from the book is you walk away with the practiced habits to basically catch your negative self-talk, which I think is what Colin was probably saying. And in doing that, catching that negative self-talk, you increase your confidence, you increase your self-belief, your ability to become highly effective in what you do, and basically make a difference, which is why we all do what we do, because we want to make a difference to people. You know, it helps us see what stops us, what has us maybe be unsuccessful in what we're doing, what has us be happy or unhappy, behavior loops, recalibrating. So when I got to power, do you want me to quickly touch on a little insight of what I saw with power, and then I'll go on to each letter, yeah? So for me, the more I taught the workshop and shared it with people and had feedback, I've been able to see a lesson in each letter. So, and again, you can disagree with me both, and you can both say maybe what your lesson was or whatever. But for me, power, which in the book, in each chapter, power I called the magic wand, was being able to see you have the magic wand, which was kind of what Carmen was saying, is understanding we are at the source of who we are, and, you know, our ego and the rest of it. So we do have the magic wand. We do have the ability to see to change the perspective, and that power was kind of our source, like the law of gravity. So, i.e., whatever you're pushing out there, you are going to get hit back. And it's the law of gravity that I was saying in an article. The law of gravity is if an alien comes down and sees someone who gets an apple and throws it out of a window, the apple is going to go down. What I said was that with the law of gravity, people still know this law, but they're still throwing themselves out of windows. They're still kind of self-sabotaging themselves. So it's about understanding how we're stopping ourselves. But for me, a big thing with power was what I've said here is my main lesson with power was learning how to let go, was literally learning how to let go, because I was so tightly holding on to interpretations, things that had happened, you know, things I'd analysed or whatever. And the most powerful thing that I've been able to do in the lesson of power was to let go. You know, sort of on how we interpret the world, how we are being in any given situation, the whole kind of perfectionist streak in me. So that was my lesson over the last couple of months, was seeing that actually a lot of it was letting go. Does any of you two see anything, want to share anything, or I can move on to another letter?
No, I'm happy to share that. I looked at, I was weakening my power by getting distracted.
Yeah.
And I'm much better at it, but I do recognise that. And although by society's general standards, I'm not materialistic, we've all got our weak point, and I was weakening power by needing more information. Over the past 2 or 3 months, as I've tried to put together something and build a business, I don't need another book on coaching. I don't need another book on running. I was weakening my power by, still looking for, oh yeah, but he or she, if I just read that, then that would be. It's about, over the past 2 or 3 months, about right, what do you know? How do you need to be? What do you need to lead on? And but I still recognise that. I still do it. I hear something on a podcast and I think, oh yeah, that's the way to do it. And I start, exploring that, and I have to pull myself back. So that's an example of where your checklists give you that opportunity to just think that you are doing that, so that's what I recognise in that power. For all the positives, there's still things that you can work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I was exactly at that stage a couple of years ago, where I was absorbing, taking on every book, podcast, and be like, I'm going to feel complete in a minute. I'll just another book. I'm going to feel good. I'm going to feel like I'm the right person. I'm going to feel like I'm the coach. I'm going to feel like I'm the one to go into America and launch my book. And one day it's going to feel like it's me, like I'm there, like I've made it, like suddenly it feels right. And I just don't think that feeling is ever going to cut. I mean, as I say, there'll be moments of peace. Let me just say peace. There'll be moments of peace, but there'll be moments, and then you'll go back to questioning. Yeah, Carmen.
This peace, you have it in yourself. It's one of your deepest and most precious resources, and you can be there on a daily basis and be there all the time. Like, if you get into that meditation, and after you finish that meditation, whether it's theta healing, whether it's yoga, whether it's Reiki, I don't know, Qi Kung, Tai Chi, or I'm speaking about martial arts, Aikido. You get into a place in your heart where there is peace. And if you do this meditation every morning and you are at peace all day, then nothing can touch you, nothing can disturb you. It's like an aura, it's like your aura gets filled with white light, and it will protect you for the whole day.
Yeah.
So it's you often stumble upon yourself. Don't get out of your way and realize that you are the one that you have been waiting for, and the change has to come from within. What did Mahatma Gandhi used to say? Be the change you want to see in the world. Yes, Mark.
Mark, were you going to say?
I was just going to say, Carmen. I mean, thank you for putting it in that way about yourself as a precious resource. I just wrote that down because that is so often the block to do what we know we want to do and what is right, and it's that idea of us being enough. And to say it like that, Carmen, was beautifully put. Yourself as a precious resource, and it counteracts that feeling of lack. And going back to what we were saying earlier about media and society influences on us, that's constantly
everything is inside you. Your answers are inside you. You just have to discover it. I don't have to come and tell you what to do. You have to do it from within.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is why it was important I get this tool that people can take away, because I'm not going to be able to do it for them. I mean, a coach can get you so far, but like you said, Carmen, your most precious resource is realizing you can get your answers, you can provide your own peace. You know, I totally agree, but people can read this and hear videos on this. But
I'm going to write a review on that after I get it.
Sorry, say again?
I will write a review on your book after I get it.
Thank you.
And I want to say that, okay, I'm coming to you to get coached. Yes, to get coached. I can tell you only a part of what is going on in my life. I know the whole story, the bigger picture, the connections, what I spoke with everyone, what I feel about everyone. So I am the only one that can solve it. You can only look at a part of the scenario, at the scene.
Yeah.
I am telling you. You
Yeah.
can only coach me on that scene. But I know the whole picture. I know the whole story.
Yeah.
And this is what I always did with my clients. I gave them the tool, the ABC model, so they can apply that to any situation in their lives. So if somebody came, this is my problem, solve it. No. I am giving you that tool. You have to solve it yourself because you know the bigger picture, the connections, the implications, the emotions, the hurts. You know everything, and you have to interiorize this tool to make it work for yourself. I cannot tell you what to do. I cannot tell you do this or do that because you will say, she told me to do that.
It's all your fault, Carmen. I'm just going to blame you for everything. So, yeah. Thanks, guys. So I just said there, power for me has just been letting go to be able to find yourself. You have to let go of this before you can go to this. So that's the powerful thing, because you're just not going to go. And there was too much perfectionism, had to be a certain way, and like Mark was saying, searching for answers outside of ourselves, which I'm really glad that he's seen that now. So and he's able to have some peace in himself, because while we are actively give me more, there's no peace. There's just no peace, and that's the big thing. So I think that's very powerful. But thanks, guys. So moving on to authenticity, if that's all right, is the big thing that I got. Oh, we're on the floor now. We're getting an exercise. The thing about, can you hear us, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, right. With authenticity, in the book, at the beginning of the chapter, I call authenticity. So power is understanding we have the magic wand. Authenticity is about seeing what our specific powers are. And I think Mark and I are trying to work that out at the moment with what we're sort of saying is, what are our specific powers?
We have a lot of them. Paranormal powers, including I am working, I have an NGO which is called the Christian Institute for Interdisciplinary Studies, and I have a blog which is called Inner Healing. Anyway, I am working at the moment on some remote viewing studies. I did a remote viewing, I participated in a remote viewing study last week. And another thing, if you want to go something and be unobserved, you have to empty your mind of emotions, of thoughts, because telepathy or the influence of one brain to another is based through information. If I feel an emotion and you're an empath, you can feel what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Or you can, or how many times has it happened that you are talking with someone and that person started a sentence and you finished it?
Yeah.
So that is a field, that is a energy field through which ideas and emotions are being transferred before being spoken.
Okay. And that's some things you're looking at doing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Be careful what you think, Mark. We might have our minds read. Keep it clean. So with authenticity, thanks for sharing that, Carmen. The main lesson that I was getting was understanding our specific powers and what's each of our specific powers, but allowing yourself and allowing others to be. So again, a bit of the peace thing, being peaceful, but really acknowledging where I judge people and just, letting all of that go, but just allowing who I am, accepting who I am, and accepting others. So it was the allowing word. So I'm just giving you some of these words because some of these words might spark some things off in your head. But as I say, the power was letting go. The authenticity was allowing, just allowing this two-way thing, this two-way process of who are you, who am I, and understanding who I am. And just understanding some of the blocks that might have been passed down in my family, in my genetics, in my conditioning, from the blocks I'd seen from my dad and also myself. Yeah, carry on.
You can get rid of those. Once you become aware of them, you can work on them and change them and modify them using the theta healing technique I was telling you about earlier. You can do this by tapping into the subconscious.
Doing like that, and all, was it that you were doing?
No, I was just. I'm gonna write you about the Theta Healing method. It's a meditation where you can get into your subconscious and just like, because these are programs, and just like you're working on the current mental programs, you can also work on these.
Okay.
Once you realize, once you get aware of them, and you can heal your genealogy tree.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. And then there was called Theta healing.
Yes, Theta healing from Theta state.
You'll have to spell it for me. But yeah, so I mean, a lot of obviously the work that I do consciously, not necessarily meditation, but the conscious work either in the tool set is understanding genetically, great, thank you, Carmen, genetically where the conditioning has come from my dad.
Yes, you understand it consciously, and that is a very important step, but you can work on it with this meditation.
Okay.
And improve it or get rid of it, or because these are blockages.
Yes, yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
And there is also a shamanic tradition called Munaiki, in which you can do the same thing. So it's Munaiki and Theta healing, yes.
Okay, great. No, I mean, I think there are places where I can need to silence myself and be a bit more meditative, which is why I have my morning walk where I just refuse, I tell myself to shut down, to not think about it.
It means that people have always thought about it. In all spiritualities, in all ages, people have always looked for answers. So your method is very important, and it only adds up to what we know so far.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I can see it's a mixture of things as well, and sometimes it's not about trying to search for the answers. It's like you say, just being able to have that healing meditation, but where you're not searching for the answers as such.
Where you understand that everything that is happening in your life, it is your choice. You chose for this to happen. You allowed this to happen.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So it's not because someone did something, or the system, or the government, or I don't know what. It is you.
Yeah.
So you have to be at peace, because it is you who are a soul having a human experience, and you chose to live all this.
Yes. Well, I'm going to move on to the two S's, which I've put them both together just because the way it works better that way for me. So saying what you're going to do and sticking to what you're going to do. And in the book, saying what you're going to do, the caption that I use to describe the chapter is not afraid to try. Just literally just not being afraid to try, which obviously a lot of people might be. And sticking to what you say is around being responsible, like a bit of what you were just saying then, Carmen, being responsible about our who we are and our actions. And what I've said as the lesson that I've recently got about these two tools is understanding that a lot of maybe what I've been doing is taking actions versus really owning the impact, and just surrendering to a lot of that I could just see that I'm an action taker, but sometimes I actually can be a very forceful nature and always taking actions, broadcasting my energy, this is the way you do it, guys, this is what I've learned, this is great, these are my opinions on stuff, these are my judgments on people. And it was versus really looking at owning my impact, and respecting people's choices and surrendering to them, because there was somewhere I wanted to change the world and I didn't like what people's views, or why were they doing that, or that was a waste of time, or they need to be doing it this way, or this is so much more effective. So again, a bit about the meditative type stuff that we've been talking about, but surrendering to that and owning impact. So those were two of the themes that I'd got from saying and sticking to what I'm going to do, because a lot of what I do is say stuff, take the actions, stick to it, but it's deeper than that. It's what's the impact that's going on as well at the same time. Any of you two want to share anything about saying what you were going to do or sticking to what you're going to do?
Accountability for me, Rachel, it just comes back to that. And, holding yourself to account and not letting not making excuses, not putting off, not procrastinating. It's where the work gets done, isn't it? And the writing gets done, the running gets done, the practice, the habits all get done.
Yeah.
It's really the crucible of it all, isn't it? In those two S's, authenticity, but saying, knowing what's got to be done and getting it done. It's important work in those two places. Yeah.
And I've said here at the end of my notes section on it, I've just said SS is allowing us to recommit to ourselves and others, to forgive ourselves, and an acceptance that has us stick with things, because sometimes we can't be with the pain of what is contextualized failure in society. But you read a lot of very successful people who say you've got to go through so many failures before you get to where and you need to go through those failures to learn. So I think that was kind of the majority of what was there in the two S's. In the I and the O, and I linked them both together, which is your index and your obstacles. So in the book, your index, I put when something is not working. So this is like kind of my chapter heading. When something is not working, try something different. Literally that. That doesn't work, do something different. Yeah.
Obviously, or analyze the cause and effect.
Yeah.
The cause maybe several causes and a line in the past. And most often than not, the cause is a choice we made. And a choice we once made will make this over and over again until we become aware of it and course correct. This is what I learned in an Akashic record manifesting webinar.
Okay. And course, I'm just putting this down, course correct. Okay, yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thanks, Carmen. So, cause and effect, cause is a choice, and then you become aware of it, and then you can course correct. So yeah.
So it can be emotional, can be cognitive, can be energetic, can be. We can analyze it. The blockages can be of
Yeah. Okay.
all sorts of nature, nature.
Yeah. Okay. So index, trying something different, and all of the things that you've said, Carmen, becoming aware of it. And in the obstacles, the chapter heading I put was about loving your imperfections. And in my lesson that I've recently been getting from the index and the obstacles, it's just it's about understanding what completes me and completing me, which I think Mark has probably been getting from the idea of not having to read so much, that he has got, he's got enough answers. It's sufficient enough. And yeah, going back to where we're sourcing our energy, where we're sourcing our role models from, where we're sourcing our validation from, which is what Mark was mentioning about noticing the validation thing. And then finding the types of energy that complete you, which I think we've kind of been discussing a bit. So that for me was your index and your obstacles, was about understanding us as a complete self, as a complete entity. Anything you guys want to say on the index and the obstacles?
We have to not to be superficial. If we are superficial, then we do not solve anything, because everything is in depth. Is the iceberg that lies beneath.
Yeah.
We have seen what an iceberg looks like.
Okay. Index and obstacles, and not being superficial. Yeah.
Yes, and sometimes an obstacle presents itself so that we can get a deeper understanding and reach the level of consciousness that we are going to reach after passing it. So it's like an exam, life exam. And if we don't pass it, we have to, the lesson repeats itself, we understand it until we get the lesson. Does it make sense? Does it make sense?
What you said?
Does it make sense?
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't hear some of what you were saying, but I heard some of it. Did that make sense for you, Mark?
I didn't catch the last bit, sorry. It's just started to rain. I'm not moving, sorry.
Okay.
An obstacle, I was saying that an obstacle presents itself in your life so that you can get to a new level of consciousness.
Yes.
Which you wouldn't get to if you didn't have that obstacle. So it's an evolutionary process.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Another level of consciousness. And yeah, evolutionary. I like that. Evolutionary. Okay.
The biggest thing, linked to what Carmen said, the biggest thing that I got from the obstacle was staying present, so that you see the mistakes or the difficulties for what they are, and learning opportunities. That staying present and not looking to the past, blaming, or looking to the future where it might be easier tomorrow if I just do this. It's staying present.
No, obstacles are challenges, actually. Challenges to make you better, to make you more stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Sure, Carmen.
Yeah.
We don't always see them like that, though, do we? I know at my most victim in my state of victimhood, the mistakes and the obstacles and the challenges are unfair or somebody else's fault or the blame game, and it's keeping out of that and seeing it as learning. And that's hard, isn't it? That's hard. We've all got.
Mark, I have a question. Given any situation in your life, let me ask you something. If this situation was happening to your best friend, and the best friend came to you and asked for advice, what is the best advice you could give him? And usually that is the best advice to do yourself.
Yeah.
We're not very good at I'm not very good at giving myself that very good advice sometimes, and that's the inner game, isn't it? That's the trick. The tricks we're learning, the tricks I'm learning, to be able to challenge myself with that good advice rather than the critic that often comes easier when we have that internal dialogue. You're absolutely right, Carmen, and it's been more consistent and regular with that loving, caring advice
Have you ever
to others and ourselves.
Sorry, have you ever kept a diary where you wrote how you this happened, this is how it made me feel, this is what I could have done, this is what I learned from this situation?
Yes. Yeah, Carmen. Yeah, I have. I've got to a much better place, and all this work has helped with that. But it still creeps up on you, doesn't it?
This is how great novels are made. This is how great writers are made. And this is how Nobel Prize is won. The Nobel Prize.
What a great way of seeing it, Carmen. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Her cheeky smile when her eyes go like this. I like it. Being cheeky. So thanks guys. And like I'd said, like Carmen says, the idea of the lesson being completing me, and like Carmen says, it's each step is completed because it's an evolutionary process. There's another lesson.
It's a game. Level 1, level 2, level 3. It's like a game, like a computer game.
Yeah, exactly.
And the biggest prize is your peace.
Yeah.
The biggest prize is you.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And then the last letter of N for navigation. And in the book, the title I had for navigation was practice, 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 which is kind of what we were just saying, that the game going back to different levels. And the idea of that the old system, which we've been talking about, our old habits and our mental conditioning systems, it was designed not by us, it was designed by our subconscious. It was designed for us. And the idea of, how we can go beyond that. And then I've also said, the words I was really focusing on in navigation was aspiration. This really resonated with me, which was Judith Glaser. She wrote Conversational Intelligence. And this idea of aspire that we literally breathe life into. And navigation gives us the power to be able to breathe life into. And it also gives, so we're breathing life into, like Mark was saying at the beginning, how we can breathe life into every day, how we can interrupt it, how we can have those little exercises, those little, what were we calling them, navigational, recalibration exercises. So how can we interrupt those old systems, and how can we breathe life into by having those little pattern interrupt recalibration exercises to interrupt the old behavior, and to each day keep going beyond our stories, because every day is we're inventing a story in our heads. We're inventing an idea of who we are, what we're capable of, what we're not capable of. Each day is another story, and yesterday was a different story. So how can we go beyond those stories? And so for me, the big lesson was this idea of what navigation does is it's breathing life into. It's being able to interrupt, stop the old stuff, stop the stale stuff, and go beyond those stories. And just remembering it is stories. We create the story. So that's kind of what I got, some of the new stuff for my navigation. Do either of you two want to share anything about that?
The only thing I thought of that I didn't mention as you went through, one of the biggest things, especially around the two S's, was integrity. I've still got that written. That's what spoke out to me. It's been integrity with yourself, let alone accountable to other people, but building that you do what you say you're going to do, whether or not people are watching, whether or not people are checking. That's all I'd like to add.
Okay, so integrity and doing it even when people aren't watching. Doing it. Does that help you navigate daily, Mark? Is that what you're saying?
That's part of an internal check that has become far more automatic for me. I've really worked on that. So much of, especially work, that there's so many external accountables. When you're trying to make changes, you need to be accountable internally, and I found that I particularly got that out of those two S's, and now I use that all the time. You just got to do this, and to be self-satisfied, to be comfortable with myself. That's what needed to be done, and that's what got done. Yeah,
which is an important thing, right?
Really important. Yeah. Otherwise, your inner critic or your inner saboteur will catch you out and have you watching a box set or going to the pub.
So anything else, Carmen? Because I was going to ask you both a question before we finish. Okay, so I'm going to ask you both a question. From what we've just kind of, and it's been lovely to kind of go over this as a refresher without having to kind of cover it all again, because we're all a bit further along and we've used some of the tools and had some impact in our life. What would you both say? I mean, obviously Carmen hasn't got the book, but she's going to get the book, but that's fine. She's still got the tool set. What would you both say, having had this little refresher today, and Mark especially, where you said there's maybe a few little elements that you could bring in, what's one thing we both, all three of us, take forwards that will help us breathe more life into every day and sort of change it up, keep it fresh, keep it alive, keep us awake? Is there one thing that
if there is one technique that we can take from your book and do it every day at the same hour every day and get amazing results, then your goals are met.
Yeah. So what type of thing would that be? What would that look like for you, Carmen? Would it be some of your meditation that helps keep you fresh and alive and inventing a new story every day?
Yes, and write new chapters. And it would be that thing that I do at night to relax my brain, so that I can get deeper, more relaxing sleep and wake up more rested. Because if I wake up more rested, So when I wake up, I usually wake up in the theta state.
Yeah,
My eyes are like this, and then I have to switch from theta to beta in
yeah,
order to. So being able to make that switch when you wake up in the morning is brilliant.
brilliant. So you say by doing that every day that you probably get more peace in yourself. You feel more peaceful, more fulfilled every day.
Yes, and I get more energy and I can do more things
Yeah.
and concentrate. Yes.
Okay, brilliant. And Mark, what you said, maybe looking at the little calibration tools or some data.
Well, I've got something I think far more. Those calibrations definitely, but I've got a new affirmation about about completeness and
Yeah,
being enough, and a combination of what you and Carmen said when we had that conversation around a precious resource. I'm going to work that into an affirmation about being enough and about being complete and having the answer, and use that to stop looking at another book or podcast and really uh, using that to push forward with my work. I do know an awful lot of stuff. I have got an awful lot can help me to do my work. So a combination of being complete, being enough, and being a precious resource is going to generate a lot of power for me, and I think that's been worth that in itself, as long with other things, has been worth the call this morning. It's brilliant.
brilliant. And yeah,
Or maybe Mark, you can create your own method. I know a person who went through a situation, and he the one that I was saying about, he understood that being without emotion, without thoughts, will make yourself pass and observe one situation. If you encounter a situation, a problem, or challenge, maybe you can develop your own method of overcoming a mental state or a situation.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
that'd be
Yeah,
great.
because we are all creative and we all have a mission in this life to do something to accomplish something to help others. Yeah, I believe in you. You can do it.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah,
Yes.
I would love if you did something like that, Mark, especially with the younger people who you work with, being able to apply it for some sort of overwhelmed situation. I just think that was why I came up with the passion tool, because I thought I want to take what I've learned from coaching, but put it into something that I can keep using to benefit myself as a way of identifying things I learn and how can I, like you say, go up to the next level. I'm on my gaming. I can go up to my next level. I can go up to my next level. How do I do this? How do I create the game? So I created the game of passion. Mark can create his own game.
Yes, I had a client one time who called me. He was very depressed, he had very much anxiety, and I asked him, "What do you do?" And he said, "I work in IT with computer games." Okay, listen. If you are the main character in this computer game, what would the next move of the character be? What would be the life of the character in this game? If you were this character and you could choose the next step, the next level, how would it be?
There you go, Mark. You can create a computer game for your kids.
It's yeah, it's a way they can relate to
Yeah.
about characters and levels. Definitely. Yeah.
And you're the hero of the computer game.
They're well, yeah. It goes back to that story writing, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
I always say to the kids, what story do you want to write? And it's the hero's journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
They come across these challenges and these difficulties, but ultimately, what story do you want to write? The one about success and making things work, or the one about giving up and being a victim? So it's a powerful narrative.
Yes, it was a wonderful morning, a very fulfilling and revealing morning.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Carmen, for everything you contributed and given us
And I
today.
hope I didn't bother you with anything.
Bother who? What, me or Mark?
You, both of you.
No,
Don't be so silly.
I
Contribute.
thought,
What do you say, Mark?
Carmen has added quite a learned and technical angle to what we've been talking about. You've obviously got specialist knowledge on this area. I've benefited from some of the more academic and technical aspects that you've introduced. So I'm very grateful for that, Carmen. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
We could talk more if you like. I'm on Facebook. We can talk more if you like.
Thank you. That'd be
If
great.
it's okay with Rachel.
Of course,
Can
of
I-
course. Carmen, you're on the Facebook group, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Carmen's on our Facebook group.
Oh,
Mark,
bro.
Carmen. Yeah, so I think, are you under Carmen Moreau or something, Carmen? Carmen.
Moraru. Moraru.
Yeah, so like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
No,
Carmen
okay.
Moraru.
There you go. Okay, so that's who you're looking for, Mark, and Carmen's in our Facebook group. But no, I find each time I come open, and I'm always surprised by what people say, and I learn something. So thank you, Carmen, and thank you, Mark. It's been lovely to hear you both and to hear what we can all learn, and if there's something there with passion tools that help, and then what we can learn from each other. So thank you both for.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you,
I
Carmen.
want to thank you and I want to embrace you.
Sending us a hug. Oh, I think he's gone. Well, if we don't get to say properly goodbye to Mark, but we kind of say goodbye. We said thank you, but
We will talk on Facebook if you let us. If it's all right with you.
that's fine. I think everybody's got to get what they need from each other. So
Okay, I hope I didn't bother you with anything.
you haven't bothered me at all. You've contributed.
And I hope we can be friends from now on.
That would be great. We can share messages, and yeah, definitely like keep up to date with things on the Facebook group. Maybe share some things on the Facebook group.
Yes, I wrote a book about my experience as a phone counselor, and I am currently translating it. I'm gonna put the translation on my blog, and I will send it to you.
That would be good. Thank
Yeah.
you. I will have a look at that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but definitely please share more, Carmen, because you've got a lot to say and people have got a lot to learn. Share more on Facebook, on the
Yes,
Facebook.
and after I get your book, I want to ask for your permission to write a review.
Please. Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Please do. Thank you, Carmen, and have a good weekend. And I look forward to you getting the book. So let me know when you want it and send me your address, and then we can.
So yes, the shipping is £20.
So no, the whereabouts are you based?
Romania.
I think the shipping, I can't remember when I last sent it to Romania, but the shipping was about £8 or something, eight or £9 maybe.
Okay, and I have to pay it beforehand, and I can pay it by PayPal.
Yeah, but exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
You let me know your address, I'll send it to you, and then you can pay me on PayPal.
Okay. First of all, I have to have the money, and then Okay.
So
It's
let me-
not in September. Yeah.
Yeah. So September or December?
No, September.
September. Yeah. So let me know your address, and then I'll send it. And then whenever you want, you can do the PayPal. And then I would love to hear your thoughts on the book.
Okay. Thank you so much. I love you.
Oh, I love you too, Carmen. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. You are wonderful. You are wonderful, and I wish you a lot of success.
You too. You too. Thank you for what you contributed.
Bye.
Bye.